Hello fellow gardeners and soil enthusiasts. Welcome back to the Humus Heritage, where we dig deep into the science that makes our gardens thrive. Today we're tackling a question that's been popping up more and more in gardening circles. What's the real difference between fresh and activated biochar, and which one should you be using in your garden? If you've been wondering why some gardeners swear by biochar while others report disappointing results, the answer might lie in understanding these two distinct forms. Let's dive into this fascinating topic and uncover exactly how each type impacts your soil health and plant growth so you can make the smartest choice for your garden. The biochar basics. More than just burnt wood. Before we compare these two forms, let's establish what biochar actually is. This isn't simply charcoal or the ashes from your backyard fire pit. Biochar is a specially produced, stable form of carbon created through pyrolysis, a controlled process where organic materials like wood, agricultural waste, or plant residues are heated to high temperatures in an oxygen-limited environment. What emerges is a porous, highly stable material that can persist in soil for hundreds or even thousands of years. In fact, biochar's story stretches back to the Amazon basin, where indigenous peoples created what we now call terra preta or black earth by adding charred organic matter to their soils. These ancient soils remain incredibly fertile today, centuries later, which has sparked a modern resurgence of interest in biochar as a powerful tool for sustainable agriculture and regenerative gardening. At its core, biochar offers something truly remarkable, a way to sequester carbon in our soils, while simultaneously improving their physical, chemical, and biological properties. Fresh biochar. Biochar, the raw potential. When biochar comes straight from the pyrolysis unit without any additional treatment, we call it fresh or raw biochar. Imagine holding a piece in your hands. It's lightweight, intensely black, and if you look closely you might still see the cellular structure of the original plant material. The surface feels smooth, almost glassy in some cases, and it's surprisingly clean considering it came from a burning process. This pristine condition, however, is both its promise and its challenge. Fresh biochar possesses an extraordinarily high surface area, sometimes exceeding 300 square meters per gram, with countless microscopic pores that act like a powerful bone-dry sponge. It typically has a high pH, sometimes quite alkaline, and exhibits hydrophobic properties initially, meaning it can actually repel water until it becomes weathered. Here's where gardeners need to pay attention. When you apply fresh biochar directly to your soil, it doesn't immediately behave like the beneficial amendment we're hoping for. Instead, it actively seeks equilibrium with its new environment, and that means pulling in whatever it encounters. It's not that fresh biochar is bad, it's simply that it needs time to mature and develop the chemical functional groups on its surface that allow it to transition from a nutrient absorber to a nutrient holder and exchanger. Activated biochar. The soil superhero. This is where activation transforms the game entirely. Activated biochar, often called charged biochar in gardening circles, has been deliberately treated to preload those empty pores with the very things your soil and plants need. Think of it this way. If fresh biochar is an empty sponge desperately seeking to fill itself, activated biochar arrives at your garden already saturated with beneficial nutrients and teeming with microbial life. The activation process for horticultural use differs significantly from industrial activation methods. Rather than using high heat and steam to increase porosity for filtration purposes, gardeners and producers activate biochar by immersing it in nutrient-rich solutions or mixing it with organic materials like finished compost, worm castings, or compost tea. The transformation that occurs during activation is genuinely remarkable. As the biochar soaks in compost or nutrient solutions for anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, those countless microscopic pores become colonized by beneficial bacteria, fungi, and other soil organisms. Simultaneously, nutrients adhere to the biochar's surface and infiltrate its porous structure. When you eventually add this activated biochar to your soil, it arrives as a living, breathing soil amendment rather than an inert carbon sponge. The immediate benefits are substantial. There's no nutrient drawdown period because the biochar is already loaded, so plants can access nutrients right away. The pre-established microbial communities hit the ground running, contributing to soil biological activity from day one. So, how do you decide which biochar is right for your situation? Well, the answer really depends on your timeline, your budget, and your gardening goals. If you're preparing beds for immediate planting and want to see results right away without risking nutrient deficiencies, activated biochar is definitely your best choice. It's especially valuable for containerized plants, new garden beds, or situations where you're working with already nutrient-poor soils that just can't afford to lose any more resources during biochar equilibration. On the other hand, if you're planning ahead and have time on your side, fresh biochar can offer excellent value. You can apply it in the fall so it has all winter to naturally charge and develop those functional surface groups before spring planting. Even better, try incorporating fresh biochar into your compost pile, where it'll simultaneously charge while also improving your compost quality. For those who want to activate biochar themselves, the process is honestly pretty straightforward. Just mix fresh biochar with an equal volume of finished compost, or soak it in compost tea or diluted liquid fertilizer for, say, 2 to 4 weeks, making sure to keep it moist throughout. This DIY activation lets you customize the nutrient loading to your specific garden needs. Remember that application rates matter too. Generally, adding biochar at about 5 to 10% by volume to your soil provides benefits without overwhelming the system. Start conservatively, especially with fresh biochar, and observe how your specific soil and plants respond. Every garden is unique, with different soil types, microbial communities, and environmental conditions, so treat your first biochar application as an experiment and learn from the results. The beauty of biochar, whether fresh or activated, is its permanence in soil. Unlike organic matter that decomposes relatively quickly, biochar provides lasting benefits that compound over time. Each application builds on the previous one, gradually transforming your soil into an increasingly productive, growing medium. As gardeners, we're not just feeding this season's plants, we're building soil legacy that will nourish gardens for generations to come, much like those ancient Amazonian peoples did centuries ago with their terra preta soils. If you found this deep dive into biochar helpful, please hit that subscribe button and share this video with fellow gardeners who are looking to make informed decisions about soil amendments. Understanding the science behind our gardening practices empowers us to create thriving, resilient gardens that produce abundantly while building soil health for the future. Here at the Humus Heritage, we're committed to bringing you the real science and practical wisdom that makes gardening successful. Until next time, keep building that beautiful soil.